You all saw the news of Nico Harrison. Nico Harrison, after making one of the dumbest decisions, and it's pretty much agreed upon by majority of the fans, people in media. There are like a small percentage of people who have defended the decision. But yes, we are talking about a guy, Nico Harrison, who made single-handedly made one of the dumbest decisions in the history of American sports, and letting go a future Hall of Fame player, a franchise-changing player. And as of this morning, Nico Harrison was fired and relieved of his duties by the Dallas Mavericks. So far this season, the Mavericks are 3-8, and they continue to look worse as the games go along. Kyrie Irving is hurt. Anthony Davis has been hurt. He's only played roughly 3, 4, 5 games so far this season out of the 11. He's not been available. And you're kind of being patient with Flag. You know, he's not being how Luka was starting out, but he's been pretty good. He dropped 29, 9, and something like that last night against the Giannis and the Bucks. Did Nico bring this upon himself? Absolutely. You traded away a guy in Luka Doncic who was beloved by the city of Dallas. It was more than just he's a good player. This guy statistically had more first-team All-Pros at that point in his career last year than Steph Curry. He's a future Hall of Famer. He's compared to and given the nickname Baby Bird. He's the lifeblood of the franchise. You poured all that draft capital and made all these moves for Luka Doncic. And he was beloved by that city and that fan base. And a guy, Nico Harrison, who I looked up, he's had relatively no experience as being a GM for a professional sports organization. He was named the GM on June 29th of 2021. In his first season, he led the Mavs to a record of 52-30 and advanced to the 2022 Western Conference Final. He also even gave Luka Doncic his Supermax. But he joined the Mavericks after spending 19 years at Nike, where he served as Vice President of Basketball Operations. His role, he supervised Nike's basketball brand managers and worked closely with many of the brand's star players, including Hall of Famers Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan. Forgive me if I read off that job title, but when I read that job title, it doesn't strike me as a job title that's like, yep, that guy should be a decision maker in trading away one of the best players we've had in the history of the organization. Doesn't strike me as a guy to do that. And let's just get to the nitty gritty. They pulled the plug very early because I think this was a pretty premature firing because, you know, again, AD's hurt, Kyrie's hurt, he's not going to be back. So the full roster and the team and the club is not going to be ready in its full capacity till after the All-Star break. But this was a reactionary hire because as the owner of a new ball club and Dumont family, whatever their name is, excuse me if I get them wrong. But if you are the owner of the Dallas Mavericks and Patrick Dumont, the new owner of the Dallas Mavericks, how would it feel if you go into your arena every night and they're chanting "Fire Nico" every single night? They told me, and if this is true, they said that Nico hasn't been to a Mavericks game since the season opener, and he was there last night. And the "Fire Nico" chants were on another all-time high. And they showed this video of Dumont talking to this little kid, and Bleacher Report posted this, so this is pretty credible information. The little kid He had on a Lakers Luka Doncic jersey. And the kid gave Dumont the finger. I didn't know if the kid knew that was the owner or whatever. And the kid's dad was a season ticket holder for the Mavericks. And he told his son, which was really odd, given that, that's the owner of the Dallas Mavericks. How is he going to be able to do this? But he told his son, go apologize to the owner. The security let him do it. And ultimately, the kid and Dumont had a conversation. And I don't know if that was, or I doubt that was a reason why this would happen, but I know it had to have had some effect. If you're an owner and you're having to go watch your ball club night in, night out, and the one game that Nico Harrison is visibly in the building and everybody can see him, and you're hearing Fire Nico chants at your home game, it's not a good feeling. Not in the slightest. So I really think this was a reactionary hire. But he brought this upon himself. And Nick Wright was really pointing out, the Mavericks, their future, if this puppy don't work out, and we all know that to make this a really legitimate firing, or not even firing, to make this a legitimate trading away your franchise player, future Hall of Fame player, you got to win a championship this year or next year. And the way it looks this year, that ain't going to happen. Next year, who knows if that's going to happen. So this could and will go down as one of the worst trades in the history of basketball. I looked it up. Luka Doncic. This was his numbers career-wise with the Dallas Mavericks. He averaged 28, 8, and 8 in his career with the Mavericks. And in 35 games with the Lakers, Luka is averaging 38 and 7. That is the type of player you traded away. So Nico brought this upon himself. I do not entirely disagree with the decision that Dumont made. A lot of people have teased that this moment was coming soon. And it was just pretty much just when. And it happened this morning. Came out. They said they're going to have a meeting at 11 or 10:30 Central. And everybody, Shams and everybody reported. It's pretty much going to be to say that Nico Harrison has been relieved of his duties. I feel sorry for the fan base. I hope, and even I'm one, because obviously I cheer for Cooper Flagg because he's a Duke Blue Devil. But I really do. I really hope at some point that this trade could work out. Hopefully Anthony Davis can get healthy. A lot of people are saying they should trade him just to get some assets because they don't even, after next year, they don't own a first-round pick till 2031. Look at Cooper Flagg's going to be in his second contract by then. So they just have no draft capital. But really, I hope at some point this season, Anthony Davis, Kyrie, and Cooper, they can just come together and play well. And maybe even next year make a statement. Because I had the Mavericks making some noise this year. Because that's how good Cooper Flagg is. But man, I was trying to come up with a comparison to make about this situation with Cooper Flagg. It's kind of like, this was what came to mind. And it sounds corny. It's like you buy a Lamborghini that's brand new. Ain't even had it for 5 years. Nothing wrong with it. It's the one that you've always had. Well, not the one that you've always had. It's a car that you've never had before. And it's really good. And you wake up one day and was like, you know what? I don't want this nice Lamborghini anymore. I'm just going to buy another one. Just for the heck of it. It sounds stupid and it sounds corny. It sounded corny coming out of my mouth. But that is ultimately the analogy that I came up with this situation. I couldn't think of nothing else. But yeah, that's the Nico Harrison situation. Brought it upon himself. Wanted to talk a little bit of hoops, and that is just my POV when it comes to that situation. And I feel for the Maverick fan. Luka Doncic is an easy player to root for. and he brung you to Luka Doncic took you to a conference final and an NBA final in a span of 3 years. And you just tell that guy, kick rocks. And mind you, Luka Doncic was carrying these teams. It's not like the Mavericks had like one of the best rosters in the NBA. So it's a tough situation for Maverick fans. I don't feel sorry for Nico Harrison. I feel sorry for the Maverick fans. Hopefully it can work out in their favor.